So this past weekend was the pre-release weekend for Modern Horizons 3. It was also a very busy weekend for me because I played in 3 pre-release events. I went to one at my LGS here. It's Dungeon Comics in Oakville, Ontario. And then I also visited MTG North in Goderich and played in 2 of their events. They were all cool events though, so I wanted to kind of talk about my experience at them. We'll talk about this deck, and then also we're going to open up some of these prize packs. In all, the events went quite well. The first one, I believe I went 3-0, the second one 2-1, and then the third one 4-0. The thing though is I played very similar decks in all 3 events. In all of them, I played green-black decks. And with those colors, it tended to be very grindy. So far it seems like the format might be pretty grindy and slow, but then you can do that. But then on the other hand, you can build some decks that are super fast and close the game out really fast. But I actually had 3 games go to time where I just won in one, meaning I won the first game and the second game never finished, just because of how grindy it was. There were so many situations where my opponent was playing a similar deck and we just got to a point where we both had a giant battlefield that neither of us could break through, and one of us was going to deck out, and it ended up being my opponent. So yes, those were very grindy and slow games. That's how several of them went, but we'll talk about some of these specific cards. Actually, one I'm going to point out that's not even on the screen here, this Crebomination. I played this in my second deck, I believe, because I was playing green-black. This was my pre-release promo, and then in the third one, it was also my pre-release promo, and I didn't play it even though I was playing black, because I found it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. Like, it was just basically a 6-mana 5/5, and then I could cast like a 2-drop or something, and every card in the set is good. So like a common 5-mana creature or 6-mana creature, those were kind of just better. So I think this card is cool, but it wasn't really as cool as I had hoped in Limited, at least. So let's talk about some of these cards. So this deck in particular is kind of a weird one. Look at the curve. 2, 3, 4, that's it. It's kind of a strange curve, but it worked out pretty well. So this is green-black splashing white for 2 cards, for 1, and then there's another one there that didn't really do much. And then the other 2 decks I played were green-black splashing red, mainly for removal. Let's go start off in the 2 drops here, though. So this Dream Drinker Vampire, this card was really good. I played this in all 3 of my decks. It's a 2/1 for 2 with lifelink, so I like that already. It can adapt, put a counter on it, and then when one or more counters are put on it, +1/+1 counters, it gains menace until end of turn. But the lifelink on this was huge, because there's a kind of like a modify / +1/+1 counter equipment theme kind of thing going on in the set. So you can put a bunch of stuff on this and make it gigantic. You can give it menace, and then there were some massive life swings in the games that I played. So kind of just the fact that it had lifelink was good. And I played, I think, possibly 3 copies of this in one of my decks. Here's this Cursed Wombat. Obviously, it's going to be good because it's basically just a Winding Constrictor. If you put a counter on something, you put another one. So it's great for Adapt. This deck in particular was really set up for Adapt. It was really taking advantage of it. And you can do some really cool stuff with Adapt with this card in particular we'll get to in a moment. This one, Etched Slith, I actually didn't like this card. I've played 2 of them because I was reading it when I opened it. I was like, hey, that seems really good. Kind of envisioning the situation where I'm on the play. On turn 2, I play this. On turn 3, it's going to probably get in because it has menace, and then I can just keep on growing. So that did happen, that situation, but it didn't play out in the long run the way I thought it would, because I did play this on turn 2. It got in on turn 3 with menace, so it became a 2/2, but then my opponent just played another creature, and I had this 2/2 that they could just block. So it never, I don't believe it ever grew higher than a 2/2. So this one is not as good as I thought it would be. I probably wouldn't play that so much in the future, I think. This one was alright, our Cursed Marauder. I mean, it's very simple. It's basically just a 2-mana Fleshbag Marauder kind of thing, but yeah, it's good. Draw's Claw was alright. Kind of a little mopey creature here, actually. It's a 2-mana 1/1, basically, and then when equipped creature attacks, opponent loses 1. This was good just by nature of being an equipment, though, that I could move on to other things, like move on to my Dream Drinker thing, have a bigger lifelinker. Basking Brood Scale was quite good, though. 2-mana 2/2 with Adapt 1, and whenever a +1/+1 counter is put on it, you make an Eldrazi spawn. So that's really cool. That one, yeah, that's a very good 2-drop, I think. I like that much better than some of these other ones. 3-drops, though, I had some pretty cool ones. Eldrazi Repurposer here. It's very good when you cast it, and also when it dies, you make an Eldrazi spawn. So this is very good for ramping. And it's also a 3/3 for 3. That one did a lot of work. This one, though, I'm talking about this one, 6. This is one of the rares that I had. So I played this in 2 of my events, actually. This one in the first and the second. And I found this card is absolutely insane. In limited, at least. I don't know if it's going to do anything instructed, maybe not. But in limited, this was crazy. You know, it's a 2/4 reach for 3. When it attacks, you mill 3 cards, and you can put a land from among them into your hand. As long as it's your turn, non-land permanent cards in your graveyard have retrace. So as long as you have lands, you can just keep playing permanents, non-land permanents out of your graveyard. And this got me so much value, just playing stuff. Like, you can mill stuff over and then like reanimate it if you have reanimation cards, which there are several in the set. But yeah, this just took over games if it was left unchecked, and it was way more powerful than I thought it would be. So 6 really impressed me. Got this endurance here. Obviously, endurance is going to be good. One thing that was funny with this was the pack that I opened this in the same pack back to back was endurance and then Emrakul. I wanted to play the Emrakul, but I had literally 0 ways of discarding it, so I would have had to just hardcast for 12 mana, and that seemed kind of like a hard ask, so I didn't do it. It worked out because I went 3-0 in that one, but it would have been cool to play the Emrakul as well, but that was a good pack. There's this Thief of Existence is another rare in my colors I was playing, but I actually didn't really care much for this one either. I don't think it ever did anything relevant other than just be a 3/4 for 3, which is okay stats, but it's harder to cast because it has colorless in its mana cost, which was tricky sometimes. There just weren't ever really any good targets for it. It seems like it should be good, but the mana value 4 or less is actually, I think, a significant restriction, because there was at least one time when I wanted to exile something, but it cost 5 mana, so I couldn't. But, you know, it's alright. You know, so that's 3/4 for 4. Evolution Witness, though, this one is awesome, because it's basically an Eternal Witness. It can get stuff back from your graveyard, permanents anyway. Whenever one or more +1/+1 counters are put on it, you can return something from your graveyard to your hand. You can adapt 2 for 2 mana and rebuy something, but also what you can do is use this card right here, Nesting Grounds, to be swapping over +1/+1 counters and get some insane value with this one as well. So you can kind of see where the grindiness is coming from with this and with, you know, 6. Yeah, those cards did a lot of work. Temperamental Oozewag is just a decent card, right? You know, it's a 4/4 for 4, it can adapt to 2, and modified creatures you control have trample, which is actually a really big deal. It's a good one. In one of my events, I played 3 copies of this in one deck, and it was good, you know, good enough to play as a 3 of. Guardian of the Forgotten, I was kind of just throwing this in here because I needed one more playable, and I was splashing white anyway. It's pretty decent, though. 4/4, it falls on the floor for 4 with Vigilance, and whenever a modified creature you control dies, you manifest the top card of your library. That never happened, but I imagine if it did, it would have felt good. Those are all the creatures. So I talked about the Nesting Grounds. You do some really cool stuff with this. I love playing this in limited from, you know, my limited experience with it, but I played it in 2 of the events, I think, and it was really fun doing stuff with Nesting Grounds. Talk about these lands. These lands are really good. So these are basically kind of like the best Evolving Wilds ever, I think. They do so much, especially in limited, because they add your colorless that you need for Eldrazi stuff. They give you probably all the colors you need if you're playing a 3-color deck. You can cycle them. I never did cycle them, but you can do that if you want to. But also, they come into play untapped and can tap for mana right away. So they have a lot going for them, and I feel like these are probably going to be really good for Commander as well. I think I would probably want to play these in pretty much any 3-color deck of these colors in Commander, so I think these are quite good. My non-creature spells, there was a decent amount of removal in here. So, Signature Slam, it's removal, it's good. Instant Speed, Terrific Assault, same thing, not instant speed, but 1 mana removal. Wither and Bloom, 2 mana instant speed removal. It works with the, you know, the +1/+1 counter theme, so that's good. And then this one here, which I splashed white for just this card, because it seemed like the splash was pretty easy to do. Like, I had these 2 things here, and then I just played, I think, a couple planes. I did cast this card several times, and it was pretty awesome. It's basically like a, Utter End, but you can also, cast the spell that you target, so this card seemed really good. The only thing is you have to spend colorless mana as though, or mana of any color to cast the thing, so that can kind of be a drawback. But yeah, this was a very good removal spell. Lion Umbra was awesome. Being able to put this on 6, make it huge. It has Vigilance, Reach. You know, it does triggers when it attacks. Yeah, Lion Umbra was good. The only thing is it has to be a modified creature you put it on, so keep that in mind. I like combat tricks in Limited, and this was a really good combat trick. Gift of the Viper. This does so much for 1 mana, and this was kind of a clutch card in the deck because there were several times when my opponent had a flyer, they wanted to attack in, they thought I had no blockers, and I was able to do surprise blockers with Death Touch and Reach, and that helped a ton. But for 1 mana, instant put a +1/+1 counter on a creature, a Reach counter, and a Death Touch counter, and you untap it, all for just 1 mana. It was also quite good with this Cursed Wombat here, because that meant I put 2 +1/+1 counters on it, but I do really like this combat trick. Glasswing Grace. It was quite good, actually. I kind of just put it in here to help with the splash for white, because, you know, this is a dual land on the backside, but I cast this, the spell part of it, and it was quite good. +2/+2 flying and lifelink. That's kind of a big deal in Limited. And then this card right here is basically like a Altar's Reap, or, I don't know, one of those kind of cards where you sack a creature and you draw 2, but you can sack an artifact if you want, and also it has flashback, so, you know, this card does have a lot going for it. It's a pretty decent card advantage, so this did do a decent amount of work as well. So that was the deck that I played, kind of all 3 of the decks I played, because I said, you know, all 3 of them were black-green with a little bit of differences, but a lot of the cards were the same, and it worked out pretty well. So I have these 6 prize packs we're going to open up now. This is from the first event I played on the Friday. Did get some more from the other 2 events, but I opened those in store. Got some cool stuff, but I feel like I'll have enough kind of product opening for this set to put on the channel. So we'll open up these, and then we'll have some more videos after this, but we'll get to this now. Alright, so 6 Modern Horizons, 3 play boosters. I've seen some pretty crazy play boosters opened. As I was saying earlier, if you remember, I opened the 1 booster that had back-to-back Endurance and then Emrakul in it, so you can get some good stuff in the play boosters. So these ones look like they have the cool stuff up front. We got a foil Swamp, foil that thing, a Sorin. Okay, starting off with a Mythic, that's nice. Sorin, Ravenous Neonate. We'll start a pile for Mythics and hope that we put more than 1 there. Reefworm, it's probably awesome and limited. And some cool stuff there. This card was very good, by the way. I played that in a couple of my events, but it's a really good mana dork. I'd like to get a Nethergoyf, because I need that for a commander deck that I'm making, so that would be pretty sweet to get that. Now that's a cool Cat Warrior. Galvanic Discharge, Spymaster's Vault, that's a good land. And Priest of Titania. Oh yeah, one thing, so after opening these, I think I'll have opened, like, let's see, 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 32 packs of Modern Horizons 3. So far I've opened 0 fetch lands out of almost 33 packs 32 packs at this point. I think they exist in the set. I'm pretty sure they exist. I just haven't seen them. I've seen other people get them. Plains. Dreadmobile. I played that in one of my decks and then took it out because didn't seem like it was that good to me. Maybe you can do some cool stuff if you care about artifacts, but it wasn't for the deck I was playing. Fanatic of Ronos. That's a good mana dork right there. Another Priest of Titania. Probably I could see myself playing that in many different decks, the Fanatic. Well, there we go. How perfect is that? Fanged Flames, the red flare. Is this one any good? You can copy an instant to sorcery and choose new targets. That's probably pretty good if you're casting it for free, for no mana. What a red pack. And, okay, that was a pretty decent pack. With the commander deck Ulalek, or Ulalek, I don't know. I'm going to call it Ulalek. The Eldrazi commander. Still no fetches. Phyrexian Worm. A foil jet medallion? That's pretty cool. The borderless art for that is pretty awesome. Invert polarity. And some stuff. This card was pretty great. I played that in one of my decks. You can gain it. You can gain so much life and draw so many cards with that. Like if you have equipment or something, just sack the thing that's equipped. It was good. Last pack. Actually, I want to get this card. This art of this card. I think this art is awesome. The Psychic Frog. Hopefully I'll open that at some point. Ugin's Binding. That's probably a good one, right? Another one for the Mythic pile. And okay, we got a fetch. They do exist. That was once again a good pack. And a Cursed Mirror. 3 rares. Can we make it 4? No, but okay. I'm happy with that pack. So yeah, pretty sweet for 6 packs. 3 mythics. Sora and Ugin's Binding. Got a Windswept Heath there. Jet Medallion's cool. Room Medallion's cool. Spymaster's Vault is probably a pretty great card. Yeah, overall, happy with those ones. So coming up for this set, what I've got is I have 5 pre-release kits on the way. I'm going to open those as you know, like the box or whatever kind of video, because I didn't order a box. Well, we'll open those in a video. What else? I did get the collector's edition commander decks. I got all 4 of those. I'm figuring out what to do with them, but I want to use them in a video for something, so we'll do that. And then I'm going to do a deck tech for a commander deck that I'm making for this set. There's a commander that I picked out that I think is very cool. So a few more videos related to Modern Horizons 3 coming up, so if you're interested to see those, keep an eye out. But otherwise, though, if you're still watching, thanks for watching. It'd be cool if you can like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. I'd encourage everyone to come join my Discord server. You can find a link to that in the video description below. In the video description, you can also find a link to my store, the Snug and Dave store, where we have this playmat as well as some other cool playmats available that we've designed and some custom foil tokens we ship worldwide. So if you'd like to get any of those things, you can follow the link in the video description below. Also, I'd just like to take a moment to thank all the patrons that support me on Patreon. But otherwise, though, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.